I grew up in a house where I was never treated like a daughter. My parents constantly reminded me that I owed them for everything. Instead of love and care, I was handed endless chores. From scrubbing the floors before school to cooking dinner after classes, I was more of a maid than a family member. My brother, on the other hand, was treated like royalty, never lifting a finger. The unfairness carved deep scars inside me, but I stayed quiet, because every time I spoke up, I was silenced with guilt. I remember nights when I would stay up crying, wondering why I wasn't enough for them. My grades were excellent, yet they were never noticed. Instead, I was scolded for not ironing my father's shirts correctly or forgetting to polish the silverware. When relatives visited, my parents would hide my struggles and parade my brother's minor achievements. I became invisible in my own home, the silent servant who held everything together. Despite this, I worked hard in school. Knowledge became my only escape. While my parents denied me opportunities, I found scholarships and part-time jobs to support my studies. It wasn't easy, but I carried an iron will. I promised myself that one day, I would walk out of that house and never return as their servant. I would return as someone they could no longer belittle. Years passed, and I kept my promise. After graduating top of my class, I earned an internship at a leading company. My dedication and sharp thinking caught the eye of the executives. Soon, I rose through the ranks. I worked days and nights, while my parents still mocked me at home, saying I'd never achieve anything. They had no idea that the world outside had already started recognizing my worth. One day, the company's CEO called me into his office. He admired my strategies and offered me a leadership role in a new project. That project turned into a breakthrough success. Within a year, I wasn't just an employee anymore. I was on the board of directors. My name carried weight in rooms my parents could never dream of entering. Yet, at home, I still served meals while my brother scrolled on his phone. Things changed dramatically the day my parents invited the CEO for dinner. They wanted to impress him, hoping he would help my brother get a job. They dressed the house beautifully, ordered me to prepare a feast, and reminded me not to embarrass them. I stayed quiet, hiding a knowing smile, because they had no idea of the truth. When the CEO arrived, my parents fawned over him. They introduced themselves proudly, calling me over to serve the food like a maid. The CEO looked confused for a moment. Then he laughed lightly and said, "Why are you asking your boss to serve dinner?" My parents froze, their smiles faltering, as his words echoed across the room. "Boss," my father stuttered, glancing at me as though he had misheard. The CEO nodded, turning to me with genuine respect. "She runs projects worth millions for this company. Without her, we wouldn't be where we are today." He spoke with such admiration that my parents couldn't meet my eyes. For the first time in my life, I wasn't invisible. I was shining in front of the very people who once made me feel worthless. The silence at the table was heavy. My mother tried to recover, nervously laughing. "Oh, she helps out sometimes." But the CEO shook his head. "No, she leads. She's one of the sharpest leaders I've seen." His words weren't just a compliment. They were the truth that shattered years of lies my parents had fed themselves. Dinner ended with my parents barely speaking. They had invited the CEO to brag, but instead, they were forced to see their daughter in a new light. I didn't gloat or rub it in. I didn't need to. Their stunned faces were enough. My silence was more powerful than any words I could have spoken. That night, when the guests left, my father didn't demand I clean up. My mother didn't order me to wash the dishes. For the first time, they looked at me with something that almost resembled respect. But it was too late. The scars they left on me were deep, and no amount of respect now could erase them. I moved out soon after, into a place I could call my own. I stopped being their maid, not because they changed, but because I chose myself. My career flourished, and the world recognized me for what I was capable of. My parents tried to reach out more, asking for my help, but I never forgot the years they had treated me as less than human. When I look back, I don't feel anger anymore. I feel pride. Pride that I endured, pride that I built myself without their support, and pride that I proved them wrong. I wasn't just their daughter. I was the woman who went from maid to boss. My story isn't just about revenge. It's about rising despite the odds. My parents may never fully understand the pain they caused, but now, I live free. I'm no longer the girl scrubbing floors. I'm the woman building empires. And every time I walk into my office, every time my employees call me boss, I smile. Because I know I earned it, not in spite of my parents, but because I refuse to let their cruelty define me.